Hello and welcome to everybody on Cloud Fitness. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss everything about AIBI dashboards. So what is exactly that, right? And we are also going to see how do they work, what are the different features, how we can use them as well. So when we talk about AIBI dashboard, what exactly it is? This is nothing but, if you see, it's a visualization tool which is within the Databricks itself, just like your Power BI. So it's a BI tool. You can visualize your data that is stored within the Unity catalog. You can visualize the data in form of different visuals. It is AI assisted. That's why we call it as AIBI dashboards. So it's a very simple one-liner understanding on what exactly it is, right? So now let's look at some little more formal definition of it. So AIBI dashboards feature AI assisted authoring, an enhanced visualization library, and a streamlined configuration experience so that you can quickly transform your data into shareable insights. I think pretty much this is self-explanatory. When published, your dashboards can be shared with anybody registered to your Databricks account, even if they don't have access to the workspace. So if I have my dashboard, okay, I want to share it, I can share it with anybody who is registered with my Databricks account, even if they don't have access to the workspace. If they have access to the workspace, then also they can see it. If they don't have access to the workspace, then also at the account level I can share my dashboard. So let's move ahead and see what are the different components of AIBI dashboard. So first is the data and the canvas. So data is the data that you want to visualize. So where is it stored? It is stored in the Unity catalog, and then on top of the Unity catalog tables or views, you write the queries which are stored as data sets. And those data sets are actually visualized on the canvas using the charts. So you have your bar chart, you have your, any other different form of charts or visuals that is presented on the canvas. So you can think of like a painting is on the canvas, but the data is actually the paint, that is stored in form of queries which you are firing on top of your UC tables. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my Databricks workspace. So if you look at this is a catalog, right? This is the catalog. So here your data resides. So this is my data, for example. Now this data, using this data, I can actually create a dashboard. How can I do that? On the left hand side, if you go to the dashboards, this is how it is. So you can see there's an option to create a dashboard. You can simply click on the drop down. You can create a dashboard or you can import a dashboard from a file. So these dashboards can actually be imported and exported as well. Okay. Then you can create a dashboard using this, and then you also have some sample dashboards which we will look at. So for example, let me not the image, let me open one of the dashboard in a different tab. So this is the sample dashboard, and then we can also go ahead and create a dashboard. If I click on create a dashboard, you will see, okay, I come into this picture where I have canvas and the data, right? So data is what? I told you data is nothing but the queries that will be used to show pictures on the canvas. Now what are those pictures? Those are visuals. And this is your Power BI dashboard kind of a visual, right? So now this is your, I just wanted to show you this. And even if you go to the data, right? If you look at the data sets over here, you can click on catalog, and this is your catalog. So for example, let me choose this taxi. So this is, so let me just simply say that this is the data that I want to add, right? So this, using this data, I can actually put a query. That query will be visualized. So if I click on these three dots, you will see add to the dashboard option. You can simply click on add to the dashboard. So the moment you do that, you can see query starts firing. Okay, there's a query that has come in. Select star from this particular dashboard. So if you go to the dataset list now, since you have already clicked on add to the dashboard, so that is why it has come under your data sets, which is taxi. And then you can use this on the canvas, which we will come to. We are going to see this. So I hope you understood what is this data and canvas. Okay, now coming on to view and organize your dashboard. How to create a dashboard you have already seen, right? So you can sample dashboard, of course, you can go ahead and check them out. And how to create a dashboard, just simply click on create, or you can import. Then View and organize your dashboard. Now, dashboards are stored in the workspace user directory by default. Users can organize dashboards into folders in the workspace browser along with the other Databricks objects. So now let's go back and see this. How do we do that? Let me open the workspace in another tab. So now if I open this, you will see that here I go to my workspace. In the workspace, I go to my users. I go to my name over here. So the moment I go here, you can see there's something called as account usage dashboard. What does this mean? Because I have made a video on account usage dashboard earlier, right? So this is where my dashboard is stored. Now, if I want to create a folder over here and I want to place all my dashboards over there here, I can actually do that. So now if I click on this, the moment I click on this, you will see my dashboard will open up. Okay, this is the dashboard that we have discussed in one of my previous videos. Okay, so this is how your dashboards are actually stored within the Databricks within the workspace, and you can organize them in whichever way you want. So now let me go back and see what next. Draft and collaborate on our dashboard. So new dashboards begins as a draft, and you can share the draft with other users in your workspace to collaborate. You cannot share the draft dashboard to the users outside your workspace. Now, what does that mean? Now, if I go back again here, this is the dashboard that I have created. Now, what is this dashboard? Okay, this dashboard is nothing but it's a draft version. Means if you see at the top, it says draft. Okay, there are two options, draft and publish. So draft version is your working version. So anybody who is a user within your workspace will be able to see your draft version. You can share your draft version to that specific user who already has access to your workspace. When you publish it, that is when you can share it with somebody who is not part of your workspace. At the account level, you can share it. Draft version, it's like a working copy. You can change it. Now, the moment you publish it, you have published that dashboard. You cannot further change that dashboard. You cannot, now that published version is different than your draft version. So you can keep on working on your draft version, but once you publish it, it is the published version that you can share, and everybody will be able to see that published version. However, in your draft version, you can still keep on making changes, and whenever you are okay with those changes, you can actually publish it. So that is what is your draft and the publish all about. Now let's move ahead. Define your data set. You can define the data set as any of the following: a query against one or more tables or views, an existing Unity catalog table or a view. So basically, if you already have a table or a view, you can directly use that as your data set. That we have already seen also. So just now I showed you that there was a table, taxi. I clicked on those three dots and I said add to the dashboard, and automatically it showed you as a data set. Similarly, you can query that table also. You can query that table. So if I go back and let me go to the data tab over here, I can simply click on create from a SQL. Select a table, create a SQL. I can simply, write a SQL query that selects star from taxi table, join with another table, and all that. And whatever will be the output that that is a data set. So this is how you guys can create a data set. I'll delete this data set because I don't need it. And we'll move further. So when you say write multi-statement queries, what does that mean? So whenever you're defining your data set, you can write multiple queries. So use catalog, use schema, select star from customer. You can write it just like a normal SQL database you have, right? Where you can just put a semicolon and you can execute multi statements. Similarly, you can do it here as well. Limit data access with SQL. So all the data in the dashboard data set can be accessible to the dashboard viewers even if it is not displayed in the visualization. Now, what does this mean? So basically, now if I go back, anybody who has access to my dashboard will have access to this data set. So if I'm saying select star from this particular table, that person will have access to all the columns. So if I want to make sure that the person does not have access to all the columns, then what I can do is instead of select star, I can simply put in that select trip distance and fair amount. And then that person will have access to only these two columns. So this is another key point that we should be aware of. Similarly, coming to the visualization. Now to create a visualization, now we have understood the data set, a little bit about how does this work. To create a visualization, use one of the following methods: AI assisted visualization and use the configuration panel. So just like in Power BI, right? You the configuration panel is nothing but it's like a traditional Power BI method where you choose what is the data set, what you have to put in the x-axis, what you have to put in the y-axis, what are the colors, what type of chart to use, what type of visual to use. That is nothing but use the configuration panel. Now, since it is AIBI dashboard, it is AI assisted BI dashboard, means you can ask AI to create a visual for you, and then if you want you can edit it. So these are the two ways in which you can create a visual. So now let's go ahead and we'll see how we can create this visual. So if I go back to the canvas, so now what I can do is, you see over here, select, right, then add a visual, add a text box, add a filter. We are going to see all of them. So let's say click on add a visual, and then let's say I want to add a visual somewhere here. Okay, now what happened? You can see what it says is ask AI assistant to create a chart. Okay, and you see the data set. So right now the data set that we chose was taxi data set, right? So right now that's the one data set that I have. You can have n number of data set. So using this taxi data set, you can ask AI assistant to create a chart. Ask the assistant to create a chart. For example, let's say total fare amount by drop off zip. The moment I click on it, now you will see the AI has actually started working on it, and oh my god, so what it has done, it has given you a bar chart, right? So the moment you can accept or reject it. Okay, so let's say I accept it. So what is this? This is AI assisted visual that you have created. Similarly, if I again click on add a visual, and let's say I want to add a visual here. Now, I don't want to do it AI assisted. I want to do it like, let's say, on my own. So let's say x-axis, I want to do something like fair amount, and then y-axis, I want to say, let's say pickup zip over here. And if you want, see, right now here, I'm not worried about the data and how my visual looks like. I'm just trying to show you how it actually works. What is the title? What is the description? You can write it. So you can say this is nothing but this is title, and you can say this is nothing but the description. So you can see how easy it is, right? And similarly, the color, tooltip, labels, if you want to add the labels as well, basically the data points or not. So this is how the AI assisted and the manual works. Okay, so now let me go back again and add images to the text widgets. Okay, so now for this, what we'll do is I'll go back to my canvas. So now you see I have shown you the add visual. So there is a text box as well. So if I click on this text box, let's say I put my text box here, you can see double click to begin editing. Okay, so let me say underscore underscore. I'll just simply say text box, or I will say sample dashboard underscore underscore, and I'll simply say preview. So now you can see I got the sample dashboard over here. Now if I click this, right, so this is nothing but it's a kind of a text box. If you want to add some, or I can actually show you, this is a sample dashboard, so this is nothing but this is a text box. So where you see NYC taxi trip analysis, this is a text box. Now in this text box there are few markdowns. So if I click this, I'll share this link in the chat as well. So not in the chat, sorry. Little bit WhatsApp coming in. I'll share this in the YouTube descriptions. Okay, so I'll give you this link. So if you see, there are different markdowns. So these are called markdowns. So if you put underscore underscore, what it will do, whatever you write within it, it will make it as bold. Okay, so like this, these are these markdowns that you can use, to make whatever you are trying to write in here, to make it look a certain way, maybe in italic format, in little bold format, to increase the size of it. So all that thing you can do using this reference. Similarly, if you want to add an image over here, so for that I have let me copy this. This will show you how to add an image, because you might want to add an image also, right? So if you want to do that, you can simply click here, and I will simply say preview. So now if you see this preview, what will happen is, let me increase the width of it. So you can see this particular logo that I've added for the Databricks. You can easily see it over here, right? So this is how you can also add a visual over here. And this is also mentioned in the markdowns that I will give you, this particular link. So you can see how you can add a text box as well, how you can add an image to this particular text box. So if you see, add image to the text widget from a volume. So if your image is present in the Databricks volume, can you do that? Yes, you can simply put workspace URL. You can use this API and then you can give the path to the volume. Okay. If your file is present inside the UC volume, if your file is publicly hosted image, so like the what I have done, right? So you just simply need to put the description and the URL for it, right? So, and that is what I have done. I've just given you a sample over here. Now let's move ahead. Cross filtering, use filters. So cross filtering allows users to inspect the selected subset of data and interactively explore the relationships and the patterns across multiple visualization. So when you talk about cross filtering, what exactly it is? So let me open the already. So cross filtering is nothing but it's more of like if you select this particular option. So for example, let's say this is one of your chart. This is your bar chart. So if I click on any one portion of this bar chart, right, then all my data set will be filtered. Okay, so if I want to see the data as per this, right, I can actually do that. So for example, now this is something that is there with the traditional Power BI as well. So if you click on, let's say I want to see the data with respect to this particular zip code. So the moment I click it, right, what is happening? Everything else is getting filtered based on this, right? Everything else is getting filtered based on this. So that is what is interactive cross filtering means, right? And this is more of a feature that helps you to visually interact with the dashboard. The second point is use filters. Filters are dashboard widgets that helps viewers narrow down results and refine the data in visual. So filters is what? Just like you have a filter in the SQL query, similarly you are putting a filter in the dashboard. That is what it is all about. It's very simple and very straightforward. So for example, if I go back to this is the filter. If you see this time range, what exactly it is? It is a filter that filter the entire data set on a time range. Give me the minimum and maximum time range. Filter the entire data set on, let's say, pick up zip code. So similarly, if I go to the dashboard that we have created, now how do you add these filters? So if you click on this filter option, add a filter, simply click here. So now I want to add a filter, let's say here, right? Now you can see this is my filter, right? And in the filter, what you can do, you can simply say date range picker, or you can say multiple values. And here you can put the field, which value you want to filter on. Let's say the zip code, where's the zip code, pick up zip, pick up zip code. And then if you want to give a default value, you can give. So let's say I want to give a default value of 1002. So if you have not selected anything, by default, it will be 1002. So what is exactly this? This is nothing but this is a filter. It's a very straightforward filter, and that filter can be of multiple types. Let me add one more filter, right? It's a single value. So let's say you want to pick a date range. Okay, so whatever date range, let's say you want to pick up from the drop of date time. Okay, the person will pick up the drop of date time, minimum and maximum value we can provide. If you want to add a description, title, so all these things are available, right? And of course, little bit of formatting. I hope you guys understand. You can easily take care of it. So this is nothing but this is a filter, right? And let's move ahead. Similarly, filter on fields. I have already told you filter on fields, filter on parameters. So you have already seen it right now. Fields means the fields that are coming from your data set. So right now, the pickup, the filter that we put on the zip code, what is that? That is filter on the field. Okay, that using this field, put a filter. Then there are filter on the parameters, right? For example, you can set parameter values to accept anything, date range, time range. So this is nothing but more of a filter kind of a scenario that you put on the entire dashboard. Then there are different types of filter. Instead of going through this whole, lines, what I'll do is it's very simple and straightforward. If I go back, you can see different types of filter, multiple values, single value, date picker, date range picker, text and entry, range slider, pretty easy. So if you do a hands-on one time, right, it will become very easy. So range slider. Similarly, date picker, pick a date, pick a date on a particular field. So that becomes okay. Basically, you need to filter on a pickup date. So if you're saying you can just check any date, okay, and then based on that, if there is any data available, it is going to show you. So that is how it is. And default parameters is always there. You can have a text entry as well. You can put the text entry as well if you want to. If it works, in our case it will not work based on the data set that we have. Now I'll go back to the slide. Similarly, publish a dashboard. I have already discussed with you publish a dashboard. Publish a dashboard is nothing but it's a clean final draft version that you have published. Once you publish it, you can share it. You can keep working on your draft version. Even if you're working on your draft version, until you publish it, the published version will still be the same. It is not going to change. Okay, until you publish it, whatever you're working on the draft, it will be a draft version. So that is what publishing kind of means. Publish is the final save button. You can think of it like that, but that doesn't mean that the draft version is not getting saved. The draft version is always getting saved. The published version is the one that is kind of published, and you can share it across at the account level as well. Similarly, again, it's a AIBI dashboard, right? So when I say it's a AIBI dashboard, what exactly it is? AI assisted. Now let me go back and show you how does it work. So it's an AI assisted dashboard, right? Everywhere, you can use AI assistant. If you want to create any new filter, any new visual, again here, it is again going to ask you, okay, what do you want to do? You can type in here, what do you want to do? Average fare amount by the hour of pickup. So it is going to create a visual for it. Now, what is this Genie then? Okay, let me accept it. If you see this, if I click on these three dots, so there is an open draft Genie space, which is in preview. Yeah, by the way, if you guys want to export that dashboard, you can export it from here. So let me export it and show you first. So if you click on export, so you can see it got downloaded, right? So let me just show you the downloaded version. So you can see that I have the dashboard downloaded, right? So you can see this is the downloaded dashboard file that I have, right? This is the entire dashboard file that got downloaded, and similarly you can import it and in another workspace as well. But going back to the point, which was open draft Genie space. So when you create a draft dashboard, by default, a Genie space is also created. If you guys have not watched my video on the Genie, I do recommend watching that. So what is Genie? Why do we use it? What are Genie spaces? I have already explained in one of my video. I don't want to repeat it here. Otherwise, the video will really become lengthy. So if you click on this open draft Genie space, what will happen is users can interact to your dashboard using the natural language using this Genie. So you can see new dashboard draft. First of all, let me I can rename it. But yeah, so you can see this is chat with your dashboard. This is what? This is the chat with your dashboard. So for example, these are the sample, like these are just the normal text that you have to provide here. Total fare amount by drop of zip. So it is going to give you the output based on what input you have given in the natural language, and this is very useful for the business user. So what is not shown on your dashboard as well, a person can actually go and understand the data from here as well. So what is available on the dashboard, he can see on the dashboard, but what is not available on the dashboard, that also can be queried. Okay, so that is how effective it is. This is how effective it is. And if you want to use a visualization, you can visualize it. So let's say I just want to put a bar chart. So now you can see using the above input that you have given, it has created a bar chart for you, right? It has created a bar chart. So that's how useful this Genie space is. Now it gets automatically created when you create a dashboard. Similarly, when you can share it as well. With the business users, you can actually share it as well. Now let me go back to the dashboard so you can see this is my dashboard that got created. You can rename it or do whatever you want with this as well. So this is all about your dashboards, AIBI dashboards. The only thing is you guys need to practice it once in order to understand it. So for example, this is the again, just to show you guys how I reached to this. So this is just New York taxi sample analysis. This is just a sample dashboard for you to understand how can a dashboard look like, right? So it is working on a serverless. And similarly, these are what? These are filters. If you want to filter based on some specific pin codes, let's say I want to filter my data on this pin code, I can just filter it. Date range if I want, I can do that, right? So this is nothing but exactly how, if you want to publish it, you can publish it using this button. If you want to share it, you can click on share, and whosoever is the user whom you want to share it with, you can share it as well. So that's all about your AIBI dashboards. And I hope you guys like this particular video. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and keep loving, keep sharing your love on my channel. Thank you so much for being till here.